maybe.
I'm back. I'm back.
Have you ever wondered what was out there in the night sky? Stared up at the stars in the hopes of seeing something out of the ordinary? Have you ever heard unexplainable noises coming from a vacant room, or watched a shadow cross the wall in front of you? Have you asked yourself if there's life after this one, or if you had life before? What about strange creatures that are mythical and elusive? Have you experienced deja vu, or felt a prompting to leave because you felt you were in danger? What if tomorrow you were on the fringe?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
That's all right. We're rocking out to that intro there.
We are back, guys.
right?
We are back. It's been a while. I've been busy. Life happens. Soccer season kind of finished up. We've got one more game to go, and it's All Stars. Hey, but welcome to the show, guys. I'm glad everybody could hear. We have most of AMOK here, minus Adrian. We've got myself, Mark, Pam from On The Fringe. Jess might stop in. She's busy with Nightmare on Bradley.
Yes.
Yeah, kicks off tomorrow night. Hope you guys, if you're local, go check it out. It's awesome. I'm sure this ain't gonna be the only
job.
She does. This isn't going to be the only pitch for it because we go every year. I live quite a ways away from Caney, and I still make the drive with the kids. The kids love it.
That's awesome.
Welcome, the great and powerful Enzo. Thanks for coming to hang out with us.
Powerful.
Thank you for having me.
Who's the guy?
Guys,
He's got the bonfire ready and everything. That's all.
Yeah, he does.
We're ready to go.
We're gonna go to his house and cook some s'mores.
We have Ken, Shaw, and Pam again from AMOK. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's kind of a short notice. Mark and I were chatting last week, one day last week.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, we haven't been on a while. We'd love to do a Halloween episode. This is just a fun episode. There's nothing serious. We just decided maybe get together and share some stories of our personal experiences to go along with the Halloween season. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a while. Like I said, it's been fun. I've been extremely busy between work and the Paracon. I think that was the last show that we did, wasn't it, Mark? I don't know if you did
right
anything.
after the Paracon.
Wow.
Hey, Alicia.
Fun too.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a lot
Chris.
of fun.
Yeah, it was
And
a
Chris.
ball.
Hey, Chris.
I loved it.
It was great to meet everybody in person. It was a lot of fun. You guys coming out here, hanging out. I know, kind of doing a quick recap. You guys came out the house, hung out, cooked dinner, and just hung out and had a good time, man. It was a great time.
It
Yeah,
was fun.
I wish the moon wouldn't have been as bright to maybe not so we could see some more stuff. But
I know we missed out on a couple of satellite trains and stuff like that. Still saw quite a bit though.
Yeah, it's pretty
There's quite a bit out there.
I heard next year's the date, and I looked it up, and it's going to be almost a new moon.
Sweet.
Oh, sweet.
So on that same weekend.
Hopefully skies are clear.
Oh
That'd
my
be
gosh,
great.
Pibbles. Sorry.
It would be good.
Yeah, I get some awesome. I've got some awesome photos of the night sky, through my phone, and I'd love to be able to actually sit and just sky watch, because most of the time when I'm outside, I'm too busy really looking up.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah.
as I'm sure everybody else is. We got to make a point. But we do have some changes, I think, coming. Mark, I'll go ahead and kind of run down. Correct me if I'm missing something, or if the idea is wrong. We're actually going to be splitting this YouTube up.
Yes.
Here in the near future, we're going to be having one channel for What If Tomorrow, one channel for On The Fringe.
Nice.
I think the algorithms kind of got us mixed up, so it's not distributing like it should. And we're going to actually be doing some videos and things as a plan. We're going to do some sky watching, maybe just whatever we can think of to add to the Fringe. There's a really, really good hot spot for UFOs just south of here a few miles. So we're going to go check it out. See if we can do
Just
some
south of
skywalking.
here, a few miles. Oh, you from you.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
us, just
okay.
north of you.
Right.
Hi,
It's
gotcha.
east of me.
Yep. So we're gonna check it out. Plus, the stories we heard at the Paracon about within a couple of miles of that area was a dogman sighting.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard about that.
And that's
Yeah.
very close to where the UFOs have
Yeah.
been sighted. So
Really?
Yes, it's
Yep.
extremely close.
So
Yeah.
Enzo, if you're in the neighborhood, give us a shout. We'll go out and do it.
yeah.
I'll do that.
So geographically, where am I looking at? Am I looking at 9 hours
How far
or 6?
6 hours?
About a little over 7.
So a
Oh.
little over 7 hours.
Yeah, about.
Katie,
Yeah, it's only shoot, Ken, as
Close
the
to
as the
Katy.
crow
5 miles
flies.
from Caney.
Katie Independence ish, Coffeeville ish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that
Not
triangle.
Okay.
Try that triangle.
Yeah,
Yep. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah.
Now that I said that, I was like, you know what?
Is it like the triangle over in oh God, what's it called? Not the
Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle, but the other
Alaska
one.
Triangle.
No,
Isn't there one?
There's a
what?
lot of
Uh,
triangles.
Up in the
there
northeast.
is.
The,
Yeah.
Bridgewater
Ah.
Triangle.
Bridgewater. That's it.
Yes.
That's another one of those places that's actually kind of similar to what you have there in Caney, where you get a little bit of everything. You get cryptid
Mhm.
activity, UFO activity, and
Right.
spirit activity.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You know, we can go out to the Sandhills. I've never been out there. You know, we've talked about going. We can go out there and check some stuff out.
I've never heard of the Sandhills.
We could do some videos down
we
there.
took you there.
Down there.
Oh,
along the
you
River
did?
Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 I was there.
Yeah, I've never.
No, I was there. I don't remember.
So Phil,
been
you
mind
might be the
wiped
only
since
one we
then.
haven't taken out there yet.
Probably
I've slept since then.
We need to get us a good IR camera.
We're all
Yeah, we
running
do.
on fumes. Or I
Yeah.
am anyway.
Speaking of, how did you guys went to Arkansas? What was it called? The Arkansas.
Arkansas
The Arkansas
Expo.
Paranormal Expo.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was awesome. Loved
So
it.
fun.
So many
There's-
stories. Oh my
Yeah.
God, there was so many stories. I've got a couple. I got a mom and son team that's going to be on my other show, and I'm going to try to get them on AMOK too because they're out of Arkansas. It's
Yeah.
just amazing. No,
They
there's a
did.
lot.
They had some good ones.
And so did the lawyer.
I had an offer for a free
Yep.
ticket over to the one in Springfield.
Some
this
of the
weekend, but
some
Oh,
of the speakers
I
were
was
really
unable to
good. And like Ken Gerhard was there.
nice.
Debbie
I think she's
Zittelmeyer.
lagging. She wasn't hearing you.
Got to meet
Either
her.
I am or she is.
Finally, she was cool.
I think
Debbie.
she's lagging.
Who else was there? Oh, Martha.
Yeah, I don't think she can hear us.
Me?
Yeah,
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
because we've all been talking and you.
Yeah, you were just kind of bowling over everybody.
I think she's just ignoring us.
I mean, I'd
I didn't
ignore
hear
me.
you
That's what I was worried about. I was like, I don't think she can hear us.
That's weird.
That's all right. Anyway, Pam, you were saying.
Well, now I don't know. What was I
You
saying?
said
Oh, you were
Debbie
talking about that was
Zittelmeyer,
awesome.
Ken
Yep.
Oh
Gerhard.
yeah,
Yes,
some
yeah.
of the speakers
Martha
that were there
somebody.
were really good too.
Martha somebody.
I didn't catch that.
Martha Hazard Decker.
Yeah.
Oh,
Martha
yes.
Hazard-Decker.
Okay, I know. I've met her. Okay.
Yeah. Who else was there? Pat Fitzhugh was there.
Mm-hmm.
You were there.
Blanken.
Yeah, you were there.
Adrian and
How did that
Tina,
happen?
They did their presentations. Who'd I miss? Debbie was there. Ziegelmeyer.
Debbie Ziegelmeyer.
Oh my gosh, big fit guy. What's his name?
Robert Swain.
Swain. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
He was there. He's really nice. Yeah.
He was
There
there.
were some really good speakers. Really good.
I saw your pictures. It looked like you guys had a really good show.
I
They
need
did-
to upload the rest. That was just the first day, really.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
they didn't let me go.
Oh,
I know, we made him
whatever.
stay home.
Don't even, Mr. Too Good to go with us.
We had
You're gonna end up in the
explain
doghouse
that
for
we're
real
at,
now.
but the M didn't come with us.
Nothing unusual.
Oh.
I wasn't able to go because I had events here in St. Louis going on. So But everybody you just mentioned, I've actually met, which is pretty awesome.
That is
Yep.
very cool. Yeah.
And I
Yep.
guess I know Debbie the most because they have the
She's
MUFON.
hilarious. Oh my
She
god.
is. She's so
MUFON's like
funny.
2 miles from my house. So
That's awesome.
So,
She is
Ken,
so funny.
I'm
You're
sorry.
talking about MUFON. Do we have any? I mean, is there like local offices and things like that, or is it like a regional thing, or do you know? I'm not real savvy with MUFON.
I don't know how many. I mean, I'm not real familiar with it anymore. It's been quite a few years since I've gone to the meetings. I guess maybe a year or two before COVID even hit. But I know Debbie is the director for Missouri.
Mhm.
I think Margie Kay is like an assistant director. I think she's out of Kansas
Yeah.
City area. I don't know who. There was a person in Springfield, Illinois, but I think he's not doing it anymore. And I'm not sure who's. Didn't she say who was out your way, Shaw?
Yeah.
And, Pam.
There's Kansas has a director and an assistant director, but I told Debbie we've tried to contact him before and haven't had any response. And she said she named their names and she's like, I know the director has had a lot of personal things going on. So she said if we do have any reports, just to go to the MUFON network and report it straight there, and then they will assign the case out. So
Yep.
because I was like, we have tons of cases, we just didn't have anywhere to get them, anyone to get them to.
Yeah, Missouri apparently is still one of the hottest zones in the United States. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, she was saying I think Piedmont, Missouri
Piedmont.
got named.
That's about
Now,
2
has
hours.
Missouri always been one of the hottest, or was it always out in like? Because I heard the deserts were always really good hot spots.
I think there are hot spots everywhere, but I think the most reports. I think that's what they base it on, is the most reported.
Okay.
Reported sightings. So there might be a lot in other areas. Well, there probably is. It's just that a lot of times people are too afraid to say anything.
Right. Right.
So, yeah. But I think, well, of course, that's starting to change the past, 5 years, 10 years or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, Pam, you mentioned Piedmont. That was that big sightings they had back, I think, in mid 70s, about 73. And I think they just had their 50th anniversary down there of those sightings. Huge convention down there. And I think there's going to be another one in 24. But down there, but I don't remember what the official event is or whatever. But I know my brother used to go down fishing at the lake down there with my aunt and uncle, and he never told me if he saw anything, but I know they were watching the skies quite a bit. So
That's awesome.
That was back in the mid 70s.
Yeah.
I think some of the reasons why you see so many reports out of desert areas is because of light pollution and
Right.
the lack of it. Sarah was telling me, was my daughter, she's living in Tucson, and she said the whole town seems dark to her because they don't have as much light as, say, Wichita or Tulsa was, because they have a big observatory out there, and they have made it so there's not as much light out there to prevent light pollution from messing with the observatory. So I think that might be part of the reason why you get more reports out of areas like that, just because there's not as many big cities. So there's not as much light pollution.
Makes sense.
That's true.
mean, I have a thought on that as well. Is I can't help but wonder, especially like Sedona and all that. I mean, that's really
that's a mecca.
I mean, that's like
old Indian
area, very spiritually active.
Yeah.
That's
true.
I can't help,
Go ahead.
I can't help but think, if that's part of it. Mark, I totally agree with you. I mean, because being out there, I mean, there's nothing in it, and honestly, I'm speaking from like Phoenix and the desert, looking across to the Superstition Mountains. I mean, it is flat. I don't know, Enzo. Have you ever been out to Luke?
Once a long time ago, but
Yeah, I
you're
mean-
right. It is pretty flat and pretty barren out there.
You know,
there's
it would be worth a trip just to go out there. And
Yeah, I'd love to go to Sedona.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
I
think
may have to road trip out to see Sarah sometime.
there you go. I think
they'll
isn't
be
that
coming back soon. So
Oh, we better hurry then, huh?
yeah,
isn't that a crossroads of a lot of ley lines too that go right through there?
This is a light pollution map that I use all the time for my astronomy such. But just like zooming in, like you can see the
Wow.
brighter colors you get, the worse the
Yes.
light pollution is. And just for an example here, we'll go down here to Caney area. If I can find it. But like just downtown Caney area itself, they have this chart called the Bortle chart. Goes from 1 to 9, 1 being middle of the ocean on a moonless night. You literally can't see your hand in front of your face.
Wow.
To a 9, which is like Times Square. You're not seeing any kind of stars there. But like Caney is a 4 on that chart. And you don't have to go that far out of town, like Independence and Coffeeville. There's like that spot in between. That's still like a 4, but you go just a little bit out. You see these darker areas. You're down into a 2 already.
Oh, cool.
right.
Wow.
So, and that's just to give you a sense of what some of the colors like. There's a couple of spots up in here that Kansas has, and you've got in western Kansas where it really drops off, where we actually have a few 1s in the far western part of Kansas.
Oh, wild.
Sweet.
Wow.
Then you've got areas in northeastern New Mexico, southeastern Colorado that are really dark. They're like they're very low 1s just because there's nothing out there.
There's nothing out there.
Can you
was-
pan over to
Wow.
the eastern Oklahoma? Like I know you can't see where I'm sitting there pointing at it like you can see where I'm
It's right there.
It's
Uh,
right
where-
there.
Here's
It's like
here's,
gray.
here's Oklahoma City right in the middle of it. We got Tulsa
Yeah.
in the upper right.
Okay, go down to your lower right almost where it's real gray.
Uh-huh.
Can you zoom in on that? I want to see if that's down around Broken Bow.
Oh, Broken Bow. Yeah.
Broken Bow is right here.
Wow. It's got
Yeah,
Broken Bow right there
nothing.
in the middle.
So I mean,
And
what's weird?
This is the Oicha
Wichita?
National Forest.
Yeah, Wichita National
Right.
Forest. Yeah,
Oshida.
That's right there. That's a class
That's like-
2, and then just north of there, we go deep into a. Yep, we're still a 2 there technically, but it's a low 2. So.
yeah, but still, I mean that's where a bunch of Bigfoot sightings are down in that
Yeah.
area.
It is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what I have driven through there going back home to Missouri, is that the Missouri border or
Yes.
Arkansas border? Maybe
No, it's Arkansas.
that's Arkansas, and then Missouri's like right above it, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
It's like in that corner. Yeah, I can think
Yeah.
I can see the cross right
Yeah,
there.
It's up here. Yeah, here's the intersection for all 3 states.
Oh, where? Can you point?
It's
My picture
right
is
in
really-
the middle of the.
Oh, so
Right
right there.
there.
Got
Okay, so Broken Bow is further south.
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I see it there. Okay.
Yeah, it's just north of Texarkana. Like
Oh,
20,
right.
30 miles.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wow. That is
Spot there.
crazy. And it's a pretty big spot, too.
Yeah. It's like a pretty good sized spot.
And there's a ton of trees down there. I don't know if you guys have ever been down
Wow.
there, but
I haven't,
It's
but I
not-
wanted to go because of the asylum that's there. Is it an asylum? Yes. The old one that's abandoned. That one.
Oh, in Broken Bow, yes.
Yeah.
Telling us about that one. She was it?
Who?
Was it Stephanie O'Reilly?
I think so. Maybe.
Oh, probably.
Maybe.
Well, we can ask her in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
Now,
yep.
that's-
can you zoom back out for a minute? Or
Sure.
yeah, out
Where would
for
you
a
like to
second.
go?
Okay, right there. That's good. Did you notice where there's a divide?
Right in
Where
the middle of the country there.
Yeah, is that
Rocky
the
Mountains.
Is that the Rocky Mountains?
Oh.
No,
every-
the Rocky the Rocky Mountains start more over here because this is like Denver right here and Colorado Springs, all right in this area. What it is because of the Rocky Mountains,
Yeah.
as weather systems pass over the mountains, that's where they dump all their snow and all that, which means
Right.
everything's super dry coming off of it to the east of there. So you have this strange area that's a few hundred miles east of where all the Rockies are.
Yeah, it's all
That it's
desert.
super dry, and
Yep.
that's what that dividing line is because a lot of towns don't get built out there between where the Rocky Mountains end
Okay.
and then that dry zone.
because of lack of resources.
Yeah, well,
Right.
that makes sense. Yeah,
Water.
'cause it's practically all desert on the western side of Kansas and then the eastern
Yep.
side of Colorado.
Shit
Yeah.
is.
Wow.
Yes, it's
There's
Which-
nothing but
Yeah.
wheat fields out there in western Kansas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that where
And
that line
a few,
is just
and a few cows.
a couple of buffalo up in here.
Those are the hills you see in the distance. They're the cows.
Look at New Mexico. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
New
is that?
Mexico's
New
got-
Mexico, you're getting into the reservations and things like that.
What is that big
true.
gray spot right there to the right of New Mexico?
This one right here.
No, a little
Oh,
farther
oh,
over
over
right.
here? This one right here.
Over there, over here, over here. No, to the right. Or yeah, to the right. Right there. Right there. Where's that at?
This is Texas. This is in between Wichita Falls and Lubbock, where there's a lot of
Wow.
nothing in there.
Yeah, out in the middle of nowhere.
Ranches and longhorns.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good gravy. That
Very
is a lot though.
Yeah, I was up on
Mm.
a number of years ago. We were out in Denver area, and we drove up to oh my gosh, one of the mountain views up there. Oh my gosh, right above Coors. I forget the name of the park up there, but we drove at the top of it, and we're sitting there, feet dangling over the edge. You know, you're looking straight down about 2,000 feet, and 3,000 feet, whatever it was, and there's the Coors plant below you. But if we turned around and looked west, it was so cool because you could just see nothing but stars, blackness and stars. And we actually could see the part of the Milky Way from out there. It was that dark. But like I said, if we looked east, of course, you had Denver was right there within a few miles, Coors plant below you, but you could still see out pretty far, and there was a lot of little tiny storms, thunderstorms going on. And just watching from this height, looking at these clouds and all these lightning bolts coming down from all these little spots here and there. So that was pretty cool. But that was east. West, blackness and sky. That's all we could see.
Wow.
Billions of stars. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Golden, Colorado's somewhere out in
That's it.
here. Because here's Denver in the upper part and Colorado Springs down there. It's I forget exactly where it is, but as you can see, there's a whole lot of nothing, especially when you start getting down into this area.
Oh yeah, there's
But,
not much civilization out there. Just
Yeah,
along the highways.
It is a pretty stark divide, like we mentioned before, how that east of that line that we talked about is just packed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then just a severe drop off there.
Yeah, I'm guessing that big yellow spot where to the left of that, right in the center, I guess that Denver area.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Denver
right there.
there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Denver. Okay. Yeah, I
Those
mean,
are these
even Estes Park, just north of that, you can really see the skies very well. But it was cloudy when I was out there, so I couldn't see much.
Hmm.
Because even
Perfect.
like
Out
downtown
of
Denver, you're looking at like an 8. That's where you start into the 8 and 9, the very downtown part. But as you get further away, we're down to a 6 there on the edge of that pink
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. So it dropped. And actually, here's Estes Park right up here, which is a class 4.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah,
pretty good.
So, coming on that and you're talking about all the light pollution and everything, it's amazing when you actually see something like I did when I saw that whatever it was in Tulsa shoot straight up, because I was on one of the major, what do you call them?
Thoroughfares.
Yeah, well, highways, but I was going
Highway.
off one of the exits. I was going off one of the exits, and I was still in the middle of all the lights. So to see that bit of blue that I saw and then it shoots straight up, it was pretty darn low.
It had to be really bright. Too.
Yes.
Yeah, it had to be super
Yeah.
bright. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
So
Shaw, since you're already telling the story, can you like tell the whole story or?
Sure. Well, what had happened, it was just really quick. It was, we had gone to a ballet and then we were leaving. And as we were leaving, you know, those motion lights that kind of say, hey, come here, we're over here. Those kind of lights that you see in the sky. I thought it was one of those. So I'm sitting there looking, trying to figure out where it's coming from. And I'm not seeing a tail. I'm not seeing anything else that could pinpoint where it could be. And then all of a sudden it just shot straight up. And I went, wait, what? Did I just see what I think I saw? And I'm still looking for these lights to see if there was any of them that were any. I never saw them. It just shot straight on up into the air and out. It was like, oh shit, somebody's seeing me. I gotta go. But it was very interesting because I was like, oh my God, because I had just talked about seeing the Destin lights that I saw back in 2007. And a couple weeks later, here I am seeing this one. I'm like, okay, they're either listening or something, but it was really cool. Yeah, it does.
Could it have been a rocket?
I don't
A
know
rocket
from
out in the
Tulsa.
middle?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I can't place because I don't know the area very well where you guys are at.
I don't know. It was sitting still for a while. I don't think rockets sit still.
No.
I mean, it sat still for a couple of minutes, or not even a couple of minutes. Well, no, it had to have been a couple of minutes because we were going a couple miles up the road before it shot straight up. Because I was still looking for the trail of light that's pinpointing, hey, there's a party over here or whatever.
Yeah,
But
the Batman signal, basically.
Yeah.
Advertising beacons. Yeah.
Right. But no, it wasn't. It shot straight up. And I was just like, wow.
That is pretty cool.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So it had been really low.
So you guys mentioned a little bit ago the Dogman sighting.
Yep.
And I know, would it be east of where you guys are at, or
It would. From where?
Well, let's
I'm
say
sorry,
from Bartlesville.
Be north.
It'd be north and east,
Okay.
just a hair.
And then east.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Kansas area, basically.
Yeah,
Yes,
right on the
before
line.
you get to Coffeeville.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because remember at the conference I said we were talking about cryptids, and I still say that I saw a large black cat. You're talking about Dogman, but I saw a large black cat run across the highway on
I
one of
absolutely believe that.
on one of the reservations as I was kind of coming through, and that was just. It was ahead of me, so I couldn't really make it out. But I think somebody asked me while I was there, did it have a tail? And I did not have a tail. I could not see one.
Oh, interesting.
Well, when you say big, large black cat, describe how big.
From a distance, well, it was this big looking at it.
Is that
I would
like a dog
would-
size, a cow size, a horse size?
I would say it was a cow or bigger size. It was not, how do I say this? It was not a dog. It was not a cow because cows don't run that fast and stretch their legs. But it was about this, I would say, bigger than a cow.
Wow.
Maybe about the size of a cow, and it just ran from the one
that
field.
is huge.
It ran from the one side, I don't know, it was cornfield or something over there, and then it ran across the highway, 2-lane highway. I'm out there in the farmland, basically, on one of the highways, and it just cut across. By the time I got up there to see it, it was already gone, and there was a farmhouse to my left.
But there are black bears over closer to Missouri, but
Well, yeah, but no, this
they're
was not.
small. They're not big.
Yeah, no, this was long and narrow because when I saw it, it was stretched out fully, running both the back and the back paws and the front one stretched out, running across the highway.
There are stories of black panthers in the area, and those
I've
have
seen
been
one.
told since. Yeah, those have been.
Yeah,
told
Yeah,
since
but
my-
those bigger than a cow? Panthers aren't bigger than cows.
I find it. I find
This-
that interesting
This was
because
huge.
because the lady that was witness to the dog man down in Tyro
Mhm.
said when it came across the road, I forget, Mark, do you remember what she was driving? It was a big SUV.
Yeah, I
Is it
don't
Nissan
remember
or
what
something
kind of
like that?
SUV, but yeah, it's probably as big as a Blazer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she
prefer
said
one
its
drive.
back was up to the top of the hood.
Yeah.
Was this
Yeah,
the
it
same
was-
woman that you and I were speaking to, Enzo?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Okay.
Her and her husband both saw it around the same time in the morning
Mhm.
on a couple of occasions. And at the same time that this was happening, there were dogs just going crazy in that area. Now, in that same area, it's a little town that barely qualifies as the name of town.
Mhm.
But everybody has chickens and stuff and pens
Yep.
in the
Mhm.
town,
Yep.
and a lot of them end up missing. And it'd be a good place for something to go shopping.
Oh,
Hmm.
Wow.
So,
wow, goodness.
Because
but yeah, they were
Sean and
only over a period of a week or two, and then they stopped seeing it.
Mhm.
Sean and I spoke with her outside in the bad habit area, and she was. And she was the thing that struck me from what she was, because she saw it a couple of different occasions, as I recall, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
she did.
Yeah, more than
And
one.
There were
the
two
thing that
different
struck me about her sighting or seeing it is she said it seemed like it wanted to be seen, like it was like really obvious, like slowed down, like right in front of the truck, you know, intentionally like went between the trees and kind of paused for a second before darting
Like-
off, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well,
Hello.
here. Yeah.
the dog man you're saying, could it from a distance, could it have looked like, was it running on all fours? Could it have been shaped like a cat? Because I was pretty far away. I was at least a good mile, over a mile away when I saw this up ahead. And I can tell you exactly where it's at. I mean, I actually looked at the map where I was, and I saw it crossed Highway 10, where it meets up with 169, and it was right there by, is it Lenape?
Yep.
Is that?
Yeah.
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 So it ran. I don't know which directions here. It was running north. It came from the north, and it ran south, and it crossed just before I got to that intersection where I had to make a left to go down, to get back on the highway 169. So
Okay.
that's what this little
Yeah,
picture is here.
I know when you're coming down 10,
Mhm.
going west, you come through a little small town of Juan.
Okay.
I know there's been Bigfoot sightings down there too.
Right.
Interesting.
It's good habitat.
Yeah, there was a lot of water. There was a lot of food.
Yeah.
If
There
you
was
guys
a
are interested,
lot of
I
cattle.
have
A lot of cows.
A lot
Yeah.
of cattle in that area.
I have the written account from the couple.
Ooh.
Okay.
I haven't read over it yet, so bear with me and I'll run through it real quick. The first encounter happened to the lady. Started off like an ordinary day. I had taken my husband to work in Coffeyville, which I do not usually do because he usually rides with someone. However, on this particular day, after I dropped him off and was heading home, I was driving down US Highway 166 westbound as I came upon Tyro. All of a sudden, at the intersection of 166 and County Road 2700, I had a creature that looked like a cross between a human and an animal run across the road in front of my car. It was on all fours. Its back was arched, and the center part of its back was higher than the hood of my car. I drive a Lexus RX 330, which is an SUV, so it's pretty good sized. It was about 5:30 a.m. and I couldn't believe my eyes. All I could think of was, did I really just see what I think I saw? What was that? As it continued to run south, I headed for home as quick as I could, not really knowing what to think. I wanted to tell my husband, but I didn't because I didn't want him to think I was crazy. The next day, which was August 18th, 2023, I took him to work again. On the way back down the same road, approximately 6:45 or 5:45 to 6 a.m., I had the same encounter with this creature. Only this time, I decided I was going to follow it. So I immediately made a left turn going southbound on 2700. I followed it. At first, I was able to drive under 30 miles per hour. Then I had to speed up to about 45 miles per hour to keep up with it. All of a sudden, it looked back towards me, and it stood up on two legs like a human, and it ran up by a tree like it was trying to hide. and then it just vanished. So I turned around and went home again. Again, I didn't want to tell my husband or anyone because I just figured it was early morning and my mind was playing tricks on me. Not only that, but I didn't want anyone to think I was crazy. At this point, 2 days go by and I still didn't think about it, at least not enough to tell anyone. I again was taking my husband to work on Monday, the 21st. I decided if I saw it again, I was going to follow it to see if I could get a good look and have a better description. Came up on the same intersection. It was about 6 to 6:15 a.m. To my wondrous eyes, what appeared to be the same creature crossed in front of my car again, heading south on County Road 2700. So I turned left quickly to follow it. Again, I was able to do about 30 miles per hour, and then I had to speed up to almost 45 or so just to keep up with it. This time, he took me a bit further than the second encounter did. He again stood upright and ran up between two cedar trees and looked back at me and then just vanished. That was my last encounter with him. A few days go by, I decided I couldn't keep what I had seen to myself. So when my husband got home from work Friday, I was going to tell him. When he walked in the door about 3:15, he said, "I got to tell you about what I just saw." And I said, "Wait, I have to tell you something too." And he proceeded to tell me his story. And I said, "No way, I was going to tell you pretty much the same thing that I had seen on multiple occasions." So I proceeded to tell him, knowing that from his experience, he wouldn't think I was crazy. I even went as far as taking him and showing him where it had happened. And he did the same thing. Several days later, September 9th. Uh-oh, hang on.
Oh boy.
Oh, no.
You lost a page.
no.
Hang on. Oh, here it is.
Uh,
Sorry. Leave it on a cliffhanger. September 9th, I was heading towards Independence, going northbound on County Road 2700, approximately two blocks from my first three encounters. I surprisingly had another. This one was different because it was a female. She ran alongside my car for just a little bit and then she vanished. So the descriptions, the first three encounters, the creature was black in color, no hair, short snout, jagged teeth, bulbous shaped head, dog-like features about the size 0 around the waist area. It ran on all four legs like a dog. Its knees were facing backwards, and when it stood upright, it was approximately 6.5 to 7 foot tall. The best way I could describe its face was that it reminded me of Gollum on Lord of the Rings, but with dog-like features. The second creature was bluish gray in color. It had little to no hair, dog-like feature about size 0 in the waist area, ran on all fours, knees were backwards. The most interesting feature on this one was that she was more human-like because she had two big breasts, not teats like a dog, but two actual breasts.
wow, that's interesting.
That's pretty wild.
Hmm.
And then
So if you're watching, sorry, Pam, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I got the
So if you're
husband's encounter too. So
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to give everybody that's watching an idea of kind of where we're talking about. 2700. This is Tyro right here,
mhm.
and 2700 runs down through here, and it's all hilly and stuff through here. You can see the
Very.
wooded areas. And
There's
it
a lot
kinda-
of habitat there.
Yeah, there's a curve, and then Oklahoma's right there.
Oh,
So, and plus where all the UFO sightings. This is where we're talking about here in this area on 2700. All the UFO sightings are like right here, like 2 miles away.
Yeah,
and
pretty close.
Wow.
So
2700 is where again now? That's near Juan.
2700.
Juan.
If you go south, it will take you to Juan.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's the state line, and then just a few miles. Let me see. Let me back out here for a second.
Look for Highway 10. Should be close to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna back out. Yeah, you just come down here, and here's one. So
ah.
And Noxie's
From-
not too far from there.
Yeah,
here to
Noxie's
here.
just to the east.
And Lenapath or whatever that was called, is that right in that
Lenapath.
same area?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Is that the
Lenapaw's
same
right
area?
here. Pretty
Lenapath,
close.
okay. So, and that's where, matter of fact, see the little white dot right there? Yep, that's 10 right there, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so if you go closer to 169, I guess right there.
Yep.
It was. It was. I would say I saw this within maybe a mile of that intersection.
Oh wow.
That's really close to Noxie, and
Yeah, I mean the whole area over here is just lousy with crazy stuff.
oh, and actually, Ken, that's where we took you. Remember when we went over? We went out to where Noxie was, and then we came up the back way to Brown Mansion.
Yeah.
Up through Coffeeville. Yeah, it's right in there.
Really? Well, that, like I said, that's where I saw this thing. And when your description there, when you were reading that, you said the backwards elbows.
Mm-hmm.
I saw, actually, Steve and I saw something like that up in Missouri a few years ago, up near Jefferson City, not too far from there. This creature ran across the street, and the thing that I remember the most, it was low to the ground. Maybe it might have been maybe 2 or 3 feet high, but again, it was stretched out. But the elbows were opposite of what they should be.
Backwards. That's like classic Dogman.
Okay.
Look,
This thing
backwards.
Okay. Yeah. It looked more like a cat, but I don't. It went so fast. It was only it wasn't even maybe 100 feet in front of us where it crossed. And Steve watched it as it ran through the field. It was heading north. But yeah, this was like I said, about 3 years ago. That was the craziest night, though. We saw everything that night, anything you can imagine, with the exception of Bigfoot. but we did see a cryptid, and we saw UFOs, and
He was
ghosts.
in Enzo's house fixing hot dogs on the bonfire.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Left some beef jerky out for him. He loves that stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever left any kind of raw meat or anything for them to see if they'd show up and grab the raw meat?
I didn't.
I have never
I was driving.
gone looking for Bigfoot. Although if I did, my from what I can tell, Bigfoot's very curious. My idea of hunting for Bigfoot would be to buy about 20, 30 game cameras, put them out, start me a bonfire by the camper, and drink beer with my buddies while the cameras did all the hard lifting.
That would be about how it would work. Yep. Yep.
Good plan.
Raw meat doesn't sound like a bad idea either.
I'll come out and drink a couple beers.
Who was talking to Shaw this weekend that was talking about they got like a cheap roast and threw it on the smoker, and
oh god,
gosh, who was that? Someone was telling that story. I can't remember who it was now.
And they were like, no, you don't want to do that. You want raw meat. It was at the dinner, wasn't it?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
I can't either. That's terrible.
I interviewed some folks down in Florida earlier this year on Sonny's show, actually, Paranormal Chop Shop. And they were investigating there in Florida, and they had a lot of success with peanut butter. They just go to Sam's Club and get big jar of Jif peanut butter. They just open it up and kind of leave it out there. And
well, I know animals like peanut butter.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people do.
Protein.
They would find the jars, those big, Sam's Club jars.
Yeah,
smashed flat, like they squished the sides and were like gobbling
it
nice.
Wow.
I was down in Mena, Arkansas about a year and a half ago, and we were you were just saying peanut butter. We were using some kind of a peanut cluster bar of some kind, and we've tossing those out there, and supposedly they like those too, and they were throwing rocks.
Paydays. Oh, everybody loves paydays.
Yeah, might have been. So
they did this weekend.
Right?
That was all. I might be wrestling some Bigfoot to get them paydays.
Paydays are awesome.
It's mine.
Well, during Christmas, sometimes they have those big, huge, like long payday bars. Well, I say payday bars, but there's a bunch of payday bars in one huge package. But it's like the size of how you get the BB guns in those boxes.
Yeah.
Yep. about that size. And my husband got them and ate them all. I had maybe one.
You know, if you think about it, I mean, like peanut butter, it's got a distinctive. You open that lid and you can smell
Yeah,
it.
you can smell it.
Very.
How did you
pungent.
catch that there Bigfoot, Carl? Well, I took this here big old payday, and he tried to steal it from me, so I beat him up.
Dipped it in some peanut butter.
That is one thing. Nobody
Those are
has
my
ever
cousins.
shown a body of
No.
a Bigfoot. And you would think by now somebody would have been doing the little trophy prize thing.
He never came
You
after
would
my
think.
candy bar. That's why there's no body.
That's right.
You know,
I'll fight for it.
talking about
Right?
Bigfoot, and
Yeah.
Ken, you said
Mr.
Mina.
Foot left with a black eye, right? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What about?
Oh, you're
Mina.
fine. You're fine. You were talking about Mina, which that's like right across the border from Broken Bow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's down that
Oh.
far. Okay, gotcha.
And there's been tons of sightings.
Dang.
Brian Terrell actually has a really good story down there. It was hilarious. He told not this year's Paracon, but last year's, where he was out there. And I can't do it justice, so I'm not going to tell it. We need to get him on and have
Was
him
that
tell
the
it,
one
but
where he was next to his car and it went right between him or something? Was that the guy?
no, he was
No.
asleep in his they made hammocks. And
Oh,
they heard like
okay.
a juvenile come in. It's a great story. But
Oh my gosh.
I think Pam knows what I'm talking about.
I do.
But
He needs to tell it. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, he does. I can't do it justice.
That's hilarious.
The amount of sightings down in that area of Bigfoot, you know, when my wife and I went down there, down to Hochatown, which was like 6 miles north of Broken Bow.
Okay.
Oh, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that? We went down there for our anniversary and we rented a cabin, just hung out, you know. And we had the show going, and I went down to ask and see if I could meet somebody that's experienced it because I wanted to get them on. And unfortunately, at the time, my internet was so bad that I couldn't really even try to get somebody on. But I was asking around. We're in this little diner, little mom and pop diner. And that's about all that's in Hochatown is like little mom and pop places. There's nothing, and it's a fun place. I mean, if you don't like doing a lot, just kind of relaxing and all that, it's a great place. We had an awesome time. They got, I don't know what they have down there now, but you can rent like side by sides and ATVs and go out and trail ride. And they've got a lake, Broken Bow Lake. You can go fish or whatever. But we were in this little diner and had breakfast. You know, I was going to pay for breakfast, and I asked the waitress, I was like, has anybody here seen or witnessed a Bigfoot? Because that's their claim to fame. You know, the guy, I
Yeah.
can't remember his name. But he was on Animal Planet, you know, on the Bigfoot hunters and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And this lady kind of laughs, you know, no. Everybody, you know, I mean, it's just something that happens around here. And she's like, has anybody seen Bigfoot? You know, people started laughing, you know, except this one older man. This one older man, I mean, he got the 1,000-yard stare.
Oh boy.
And I was like, that guy knows something.
Mm-hmm.
Just reading body language, man. I mean, this guy just went and like zoned out. I'm like, that guy knows something. But getting him to tell, you know, you couldn't.
No,
Wouldn't.
he ain't
And-
gonna say nothing.
No. And of the people I talked to, we went to a winery down there, and the only guy that would even say anything about it was from out of state. He was working at the winery, and he's like, yeah. He said, I swear to God, I saw something. I was driving down the highway, and this thing come across the highway. Didn't waste any time, and it went off in the woods. You know, and that's about all he
Wow.
left. He said, that's about all I saw. But he's the only one that was out of the area, that was from out of the area, that saw anything. But yeah, I'll never forget the old man's face when I was chatting with him. Was just, you could just see it instantly. I mean, just when I brought it up and people kind of started laughing, he got quiet because he'd been loud all morning.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, it was like a
Do-
total
you know,
180.
It's kind of like the Noxie syndrome.
Mhm.
You know, I was, you know, when you were talking about that, telling that story, I was thinking back because I truly believe that they're interdimensional beings. and that they can kind of come and go, but they're also kind of like shapeshifters. And I wonder if some of these can like shapeshift into a person that we would assume was, a human, but maybe the guy that you saw potentially could he have maybe been a Bigfoot in a human form? I mean, that's
I never thought
another
like that.
that's another.
Well, that was one of the things that I was going to comment on at the at the convention was, we have all different kind of animals that can camouflage themselves, like the octopi, the lizards, some lizards. Yeah. Why couldn't a Bigfoot? We don't know that much about them.
especially if they are an interdimensional being, then I could see that. But a lot of people totally believe that they're animals, but I don't.
I don't think they're animals. They're too intelligent. Well, I'm not saying animals aren't intelligent, because there are some animals that are extremely intelligent. But I don't. They just seem too humanoid in some aspects.
There's the theory talking about that, like the chameleons and the octopus and all that. There's a theory that I've heard is like almost like their hairs, and it kind of helps them avoid photography too. And it's all blurry and stuff. But it's a type of camouflage, but it's almost like it's a filament. Their hair is almost like a filament that absorbs light and changes light and all that.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. I can't remember the guy.
Isn't that what they use for like the radar avoidance for airplanes? They bend the light in a way that they become invisible, even though they're really there. Like
basically
the jets.
The way stealth works, and Enzo, you probably know a lot about this as well. I mean,
you're smiling. I can tell he knows.
The initial, the F-117, looks like it has all these angles. It makes it to where the radar waves don't bounce back to the radar, but it bounces off. Right. I'm not sure how these newer generations, like the F-35, F-22, even the B-2, they seem more smooth. I think a lot of it has to do with what they're made out of and what the paint is. Because I even know, I worked F-18s, and just the paint alone reduced the cross section on the radar of these aircraft.
The paint is the big thing. Of course, as you mentioned, F-117 has what they call faceted design to it, which is exactly as you said, as the radar beam comes in and hits it, when it hits it flat, it's going to reflect right back to the radar station and give you that contact. If it's angled, it's going to hit and deflect away. They've used different types of paint that are radar absorbing, so that when it hits it, it kind of disperses the radar pattern rather than reflecting it back.
Scatters.
Plus you get, like if you've ever seen, and there's plenty of videos out there on YouTube and stuff like that. It's called Fanta Black or something like that, where even, like you can go to the, store and buy some black spray paint and spray something and hold it up. You're still going to see it. It's this Fanta Black stuff doesn't reflect any light. It's surreal. It's like looking into outer space. It's like you have no concept of depth because it's not reflecting light off of it, even though it's black.
Right.
So basically, it's an ultra advanced version of something like that they're using for the skin on stealth aircraft.
That's
really
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool technique. And then you're looking at another, what I'm hearing about is active camouflage. And it basically, there's a bunch of little tiny cameras on top and bottom of the aircraft, and it projects what's above the aircraft on the bottom and vice versa.
Yep.
So almost like a chameleon.
Almost, yeah.
So that like
Something like that.
Kind of like
that's really cool.
It's basically like the bottom of your aircraft would have like TVs on the bottom of it. And it's the picture that's on the TVs is whatever's above it. So if it's clear blue skies, the TV is going to have a clear blue sky. So when you're looking at it from below, you can't really
like a green screen.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. So so it would look like it's you can see right
Yeah.
through it.
And they
It
actually
matches
have a
whatever's in
black that is blacker than Vanta black now.
What?
Well, I believe it.
How can you have a
Wild.
wow? That is
Um,
crazy.
I've got a picture of the Vanta black here. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, let's check
I'm
it out.
smart enough to show
I think
it.
I think I know what you're talking about, Enzo, with that Vanta black.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah,
That is.
it just looks
There's a
odd.
few. Yeah,
Oh.
because it like people that like painting their cars and stuff with it's like it's not there. Yeah.
These are
wow.
two. They've painted one with the Vanta black. You can't even see the.
Oh,
Wow.
they just cut the
It's
picture
it's the
off.
same sculpture. It's just one has the Vanta black paint on it, and the other one is whatever.
So
the
there's no light
material is.
reflection at all, is there?
Wow.
Yeah,
It,
there-
it, li-
Yeah,
it literally looks
wow.
like someone just edited it out in black.
Yeah.
it does. It's crazy. So, yeah, you put that on something, it's just going to disappear in the sky. And that brings to mind, have you guys seen the? Well, I mean, you guys have all heard the UFO stories about the only reason they knew something there was because it was darker than the night sky. I mean, that's the same
That's,
sort of
that's
thing.
my story.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Well, that's just like when I saw what I think it was a Bigfoot. What I'm seeing is a dark black image, darker than the darkness around it.
Yeah.
Kind of
So-
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't see any details to it. You're not going to.
Right.
The camera can't pick anything out. It just looks like somebody erased it with a black swirly or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well, you look at technology and look at how fast everything is going.
Yeah.
And of course, this is just my opinion and a theory. But, and then you look at the supposed alien technology. I mean, wouldn't you come to the conclusion that maybe aliens walk among us and the technology that's getting out there so quickly is possibly
You have
From that-
discovered my secret. You must be silent.
That's it.
I was going to say.
Well, cool.
I think they just blew Pam off the screen there.
I had to go
Yeah.
get a blanket. I'm sitting here freezing.
But the idea has been around for a long time that UFOs that people are seeing doing weird stuff in the sky is American technology, or
Mhm.
a worst case scenario, it's not American, it's some other
Right.
countries. Now, I would think that if we had a fleet of high performance vehicles that could do the kind of things that are reported from UFOs, that we'd have fleets of them and we would have taken over the whole planet by now, because it's
Yeah.
such a giant
Exactly.
leap over
Right.
everything else.
But
Unless
it's too soon.
well, and that's the thing is, I think it has to be a situation where it's super expensive to make and super rare materials to create these things, or else we would have
So we
assembly
can only
lines,
afford to have
cranking
one or
out.
two at a time. Yeah.
Mm.
And right, and plus, whenever it is kind of one of those end game kind of scenario war things where it's like, this is our best thing. We don't want to reveal it to anybody.
Right.
But if that's the case, why are they flying over major cities where people can see them?
Right.
You know, that's the other argument against it.
Well,
But,
and
Hey,
you-
look over here while we do something over here.
and that's
you know
actually-
why they don't never made an armed SR-71 is because they tried making an armed SR-71 and it flew faster than the missiles it launched and would overrun them.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh my
They,
God.
they tried with guns and they were running into the bullets.
Yeah, they
and,
were running into the bullets
same
from
with missiles.
behind.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
Is
was
there-
that? The A something or other. A20.
It was
Okay.
YF something or other. There's several of those, but
Well-
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ken.
I was going to say logic in that regard. Why would they shoot it forward then? Why won't they shoot it backwards?
You could.
I mean, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, government. I
Pass your
didn't want to
target and
give.
shoot backwards.
Well, exactly. Okay, never mind.
Because
It got
you
really
weren't in
quiet.
That's the
I
same
mean-
logic as the U.S. spending, all this money to create a pen that you could write upside down with in space, and it you wouldn't lose the ink and things like that. And someone else just used a pencil. That's
Yeah,
the same
Russian.
logic. Can you just print it around?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
What
Yeah.
about the?
Yeah.
Although I do love my pressurized ink cartridges.
right?
Space planes are pretty nice.
Yes.
They are
They are
really
sweet.
nice.
So, any of you guys that were in the Air Force, are you jelly of the fact that they have a Space Force now?
Oh yes, I would totally have gone straight into the Space Force.
I was hoping for Space Marines. I mean,
Right. Oh my gosh. I was sitting there thinking about all the people that I knew that were in the Air Force. I'm like, they just came out with Space Force not too long ago. I wonder how many would have loved to have gone there.
Ooh.
Just
Not
waiting,
me.
The truth about,
waiting for your
the truth about the-
invitation now.
yeah, the truth about the Space Force guys, they're not rocket ships fighting aliens in space. You know, they in 90% of the cases they're actually doing what I'm doing right now, so I'm perfect for it. Where you're locked into a dark room staring at a bunch of computer screens with dealing with satellites is mostly.
But do you at least get a cool uniform or a patch?
Not only
You get a
that,
cool
you probably
patch.
get a good view every once in a while.
Oh yeah, especially like spy satellites and stuff like that.
Mess with
The,
people.
Stop looking at the French beaches.
I'll wave at you next time you're on.
That
Has
nude
anybody-
beach is not for you to look at and spy on, okay?
Has, has any-
Colonel.
has anybody thought of the possibility that the things we're seeing out there, we're talking UFOs now, that maybe they're not really there, but maybe they're projections that are coming from far, far away somewhere, another galaxy, and actually not physically here, but they're
You mean like a hologram?
like a hologram type thing?
I would think if that was the case, then they're intentionally wanting us to see them because they could make it where you wouldn't see it at all if that was the case.
Right.
Correct.
It was just for observation.
But
I think a lot of the times they're probably not really meant to be seen, especially depending on the location they're at. Like the one that I saw in Tulsa, I don't necessarily think that it meant to be seen. I saw it, but I think it was like, oh, well, it's really light here. Nobody's going to see. I don't know.
I think there have been a number of cases over the years of groups of people, three or more, where one person's like, hey, look at that. And the other two people are like, look at what? I'm not seeing it.
Yes.
That kind of
Oh,
thing.
wow.
Yeah.
So
We're able
it
to
could
see
be
something.
just part of your own psychology, or let's be honest, our eyes are not that great.
oh,
Right.
And
Mine.
neither our ears or anything else. We're barely conscious, really. We're just kind of stumbling around. But it's something that goes along with like stories of Dogman and some of the weird like cryptidy stuff they saw like in Skinwalker Ranch, for the early days of that, where they're seeing a person leaned up against a tree in a trench coat with a wolf's head smoking a cigarette. It's like, what? Are they really seeing a person or is that's the closest approximation your head can make out of whatever it is they're trying to see?
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a psychology
And-
element, I think.
Because if
that's
you've
going
never
on.
seen it before, your brain doesn't have a reference for it. So it's
Right.
just trying to
Try to
make
fill in
it-
the
something.
yeah,
blanks.
trying to fill in the blanks. Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes it could be pareidolia.
Mhm. Yep.
And also, if a lot of this stuff is interdimensional, then some people might not be able to perceive it
Correct.
as well as others, just because your sensors are different.
And
Well, I mean-
and
Oh, yeah.
with if you start bringing interdimensional stuff into it, and Ken talked about it earlier with Bigfoot and things like that, that opens up everything. There
Yep.
really
Oh, yeah.
could be a person wearing a trench coat with a wolf head smoking a cigarette, and
Yeah.
that's really what it is.
Yeah, that only you
because-
can see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That would be a guy I would like to have a drink with.
Right?
Right?
so
He
Dude,
may
I'm
enjoy
buying.
going for dinner, and you're the dinner.
Well, I
But,
mean, look at how people see things differently now.
Too
How
fatty.
many people are colorblind, and things like that. Who's to say that there's just another level to eyesight that we don't know, that some of us may have,
And
but
that's-
others don't.
That's true. I knew a
And
kid
then-
when I was in high school. He was total black and white colorblind, but he could read a newspaper in a dark room.
That's crazy.
so talking about
Because he
eyes
had
and all
more
that,
rods. And,
Yeah.
Wait.
Are you guys familiar with with rods, with flying rods.
Yeah.
Mm,
With
I'm
what's
not.
Jose Escamilla's gig back the old Art Bell days.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, not 50 yards from where you guys were sitting. I've got a trail camera set up. I'm trying to get some deer in,
Mhm.
and I'm not saying it is, but I'm not saying it isn't, because comparatively speaking, it looks just like them.
Really?
But I've got some cool pictures I want to share real quick on my trail camera.
Okay.
And everybody on here tonight has been out to my place, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we know
Uh,
exactly where.
In the middle of flipping nowhere.
exactly.
Sure
I
is
love
pretty
it.
out there, though.
Like that.
It is beautiful. That
with
moon
a-
was gorgeous.
with a near full moon.
Oh.
This is a ways out. I'll zoom out to if I can. This is full screen.
So is that like a still, or is it? Do you get?
Yeah, it's a
move off
still.
of it?
Was that
It's
the
a still.
direction of the moon that we were watching? I can't tell the direction.
Kind of. This is facing east in the same direction, but this was 9:30, so it was.
It was dark, but not pitch dark.
Wow.
Yeah, this is like 10 o'clock at night on September 30th.
So
this
a lot
is
of
the night of the
times
Paracon.
Oh,
they
wow.
have that wave to them.
Oh.
They
So that
might
was
be
the-
like a moth or something.
Are-
Yeah, and it
Are-
could be.
Caught
I'm,
in flight.
Are there any
man.
roads out there where that could have been headlights and it was
well,
That's in the
jumping
sky.
yeah,
Oh,
this-
jumping
this
off the
is-
thing.
The
Okay.
road comes out here.
Hmm.
You would pick it up from
Yeah.
where it was at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that where we saw the moon rise the night before?
Yeah, here-
That direction? Okay.
Here's
Yeah.
a stronger one.
oh, okay.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Wow. It kind of like just loops around the rod type thing.
Now the not to be the party pooper, but back in Jose Escamilla's day, the cameras he was using when he was catching these rods, kind of low res, kind of
Yeah.
low frame rate, and what he was getting was insects, but it's a blur. They were moving so fast compared to the frame rate of the cameras he was using. It was just a blur,
Mhm.
Right.
and an insect moving in a straight line is that center part that looks like the solid stick, and you see the wave in there. That's its actual
Right.
wings beating.
Oh.
Yeah, and at
Yeah.
night you use a longer exposure
With
to
infrared.
be able to
Okay.
pick up the.
That
Then I
makes
had-
sense.
I had
That
this
does make
light.
That's
and
kind of
I'm not
weird.
saying, I'm not saying it's not
Yeah.
a bug. I'm not saying it is.
If it
Well,
isn't, really
if
bright
it- Yeah, you just, I mean, if that one was a bug before, then,
Well, it's a different day. This is 9:26.
oh, that's true.
Well, I wonder what you guys are looking at because I can't see anything. I'm kidding.
Um,
I'm kidding.
9:25.
I just,
This is
we're-
the
we
just
next
got a
just
day.
talking-
message from
We were just
Jess. Her AT&T is not functioning well, so she will not be able to be on.
Oh,
Oh, unfortunate.
she's eating
So-
candy, isn't she?
I mean,
Well, Enzo, you
Yeah.
supplied it.
putting them in bags.
Yeah.
One
it's not
for
like she
you,
doesn't
2
have
for
plenty.
me. One
She's
for you.
got her
2
head
for
stuck in
me.
that bucket of Reese's cups I brought. her.
Yeah, this is all within a matter of minutes. This picture here.
That's
This
Oh,
is low
wow.
to the ground. This
Can you
is
zoom on
2
that?
And it
minutes
kind
later.
of disappears right there in the middle.
Yeah, this is 2 minutes later, and this is like 3
Oh,
4
that's
minutes
weird.
later. And that's
I
nothing.
don't know of a bug that that disappears in the middle of flight.
That almost
I mean,
looks like a
Oh,
spider web right
interesting.
there.
Yeah.
That would be my first guess for something like that, but actually, I've kind of seen something similar to that before. Let me see if I can find it.
But yeah,
Oh,
That's
That looks
Beetlejuice
cool.
in the middle.
yeah, and this is on the other side of the feeder, because you can see the legs of the feeder here
Mhm.
and how it blocks it out.
huh.
I thought that was Orion's belt with Beetlejuice in the middle.
But yeah,
Hey,
I thought I'd share it with you.
No, that's
Those
kind
are
of cool.
cool.
Those are cool pictures, though.
And I had my deer
Oh,
on there.
nice deer.
Nice.
Fun fact:
Mm.
in however
That's my
many 100,000 years,
Yay.
when Beetlejuice explodes, we will have a second sun in our sky for approximately 100 years.
Wow.
I have heard that. I have heard that.
Wow.
So
Those are going to be some hot summers.
I'll be back for it.
All
Coming back.
I'm coming back.
Check that out.
I might even just stick around and wait.
right.
this is a long wait. As
Let's go
bad as
find
I
some
feel now,
vampires.
I that does not sound like a fun time.
No, that sounds like
Honestly,
way too hot. Go to Canada.
As variable as Beetlejuice has been the last couple of years, you may not even need to wait that long.
We may
It's,
not. We may not. They said sometime in the next 100,000 years it should go supernova.
Wow.
All right. Now, Beetlejuice is a star, or what is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Beetlejuice is a star.
It's one
If
of
you're
them.
familiar with the constellation Orion, which a lot of
Mhm.
people are, the three belt stars,
Orion
the
belt.
upper part, there's a one dark red one that makes up, it's the right shoulder, I think, of Orion. That's Beetlejuice, the star. It's a red,
okay.
it's a red giant. It's
Bright one.
monstrous.
Ooh.
And during all the lockdowns a couple of years ago, it started dimming. All stars are variable, where they go through periods of brightness and darkness just as their natural lifespan. But for whatever reason, Beetlejuice dimmed to the dimmest that anyone's ever seen it over, hundreds of years of observing this star. And they didn't know why for the longest. They have some ideas now where basically where it's because it's near the end of its lifespan,
Mhm.
where it's at that point because it's already, because any red giant, that's near the end of any star's lifetime when it reaches that stage. And then it gets to that point of total collapse and it explodes into a supernova. But it's thought that what was going, because it was literally like you would be observing it through a telescope and something was blocking all the light, and then it would be back, and then something would block the light and it would be back.
Oh.
Something was
What
in
they
orbit.
think
and-
might have been happening is basically large chunks of that star's atmosphere were getting blown off because it's nearing the end of its life, and it's kind of having little mini explosions on it, and it's
Right.
blowing these chunks of material out into space, and it's basically clouds at that point because it's actual particles, and it's so thick that from our perspective looking at it, that it would slowly form in its orbit around where we are not able to see it clearly because it's all blocking our view.
Wow.
That's a great description of looking through the veil.
You know, that takes me back to we were talking cryptids and all that. Do you think the veil is thinning?
I do believe it.
I do, because I think a
letting
lot
things
more
cross
people
over?
are seeing and experiencing things than they have before.
And
That's
I think
true.
a lot more people are accepting it and are delving into their, into their psychic abilities, which we all have.
Yeah.
It's
I buy that.
It's not taboo like it used to be.
Right.
Mhm.
And I believe that.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe our third eyes are getting stronger too.
Could be, yeah.
I wish mine would get stronger, dadgummit.
You gotta blink.
I wish
more.
my regular eyes would get stronger. I'm blind as a bat.
Getting worse.
I mean,
I
I don't know.
understand.
There's been many nights I've been outside and but out here. I mean, everybody knows.
Mhm.
I'm outside and like, man, there is something there. I can just feel it. Whatever it is, whatever it's not, I don't know. I mean, but I agree. I think everybody needs to learn to tap into it. I'm not an expert, but I'm trying to pay attention to it. And I think that's that gut level survival instinct thing. Maybe, I don't know.
You know what freaks me out? Have you guys, any of you, ever had an experience like if you're driving at night by yourself and you just get the feeling that someone is in your back seat? Have you ever had that happen?
I have had that feeling.
That is enormously unnerving. I've had it happen one time.
You just
and
gave
it
me
freaked
the
me out.
willies.
I actually had a hitchhiker and didn't know there really was somebody in the seat with me, and because I went to it was a spirit. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, were they alive or?
No, this was actually this was a spirit, and apparently it knew where I was going, and I was heading out towards meeting a bunch of friends for or luncheon type thing. We chat and talk about spiritual stuff, but we're heading over to Springfield, Illinois, and for some reason, my GPS took me a different route to this person's house. Why? I don't know, but I turned left, and when I get off the highway, and I'm like, this doesn't look right. So I turned back around after I crossed the railroad tracks, pulled into some farmer's long driveway, backed out, crossed the tracks again, went down a little bit further. I'm like, GPS said turn around. So I went back and followed that route. Jump way ahead here after our lunch. We're sitting around talking about some stuff, and I happened to notice something weird by the door, kind of like a shadowy movement. I'm like, what the heck was that? And one of the ladies whose house we were at, she goes, Ken, did you see that? I said, I saw something. She goes, who did you bring with you?
Oh, yay.
Oh, wow.
And it was at that point that I got really cold, and apparently this spirit, I'm just going to call it, was behind me. And we all end up tapping into it with our third eyes and kind of had a little vision. It turned out that one of the guys in the group, this was a friend of his who got murdered
Wow.
at the location right next to the railroad tracks that I had crossed. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And so apparently
Wow.
he rode with me, and we're talking about, people in the car. I'm like, I didn't know I had a hitchhiker.
Yeah.
So, but we tapped into him, and we were chatting with him, and he would not cross over because he was still kneeling on the floor at work where he got killed by 2 robbers.
Wow.
And he was still facing, let's say, this way.
Oh, bless
And
him.
we could see the light was behind him. It took a good half hour to finally convince him to turn around, and then everything went better. And it was crazy, but he was afraid to turn around, and that happened. I think they told me about maybe 20 years ago.
Wow.
So I mean that's some
Wow.
of the crazy things that I experience, but it's crazy and it's absolutely amazing. So
Well,
Now, have you had anything?
Andrea just said that, she's
What's
had that feeling up to the point to where she's turned the dome light on in the car.
Yeah.
I have that time I experienced it. Boy, I did too. Just to make sure. I couldn't see anything, but I knew something was there, and I never did figure out what it was. And I haven't had that feeling since. So I don't think it was just a paranoid thing, like you get it in your head, oh God, whatever.
Yep.
It wasn't
Right.
anything like that because I've drove a million times by myself at night.
I
Just
got
like
it
the
so
time.
bad one night for years afterwards, I would check the back seat before I got in the car.
actually, before I started doing a lot of investigating about 15 years ago, I would do the same thing. I would go, it's like, but I would think that there was somebody real back there.
Yeah.
So
I checked
I'd
I thought.
lean over the edge. Nobody's back there. Okay, I can get in the car.
Mhm.
Now, what about on Halloween night? Has anybody had any weird experiences happen to them on Halloween night?
Well, there was this one party that I went to, and they had tequila. Oh wait, no, but that really actually did happen. Let me just tell you, nothing ever good comes out of a bottle of tequila.
So you had
No.
you're coated in Vaseline with rubber chickens on your feet.
No, but I am very glad that all of my wild parties happened before the advent of cell phone cameras.
Oh, right. Yes. Same.
But
Same.
let's just say that a very large sombrero may have been involved.
Little mariachis.
Mine was all when I was in the service.
I mean, I've investigated on Halloween quite a few times. Various locations, especially up in Illinois again, up in Alton areas. That's really, really active up there. And yeah, I've had a lot of experiences on Halloween. And I'm trying to think, I think it was actually the 30th, right before Halloween, when the cryptid I was talking about earlier, that not the cat, but that that weird creature that ran across up by Jeff City. We had what we called a Halloween festival up there at a place called Where Pigs Fly. It was a fundraiser for them. And that night we saw flashing lights in deep space, flash, and then no star, flash. Now there is a star, just various spots. And we had this creature cross the road. We went out got some pizza about, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that for the group after the thing was over. And we came into the property, had to get out, open the gate, pull the car in, and then get back out, close the gate. Well, I had snug up my door, just kind of snug it up, not closed, but just touching metal. And Steve was with me, and he was holding the pizzas in his lap. I go back and I close the gate. I come walking up. I get about 30 feet away, 20 feet away, and my door slams shut. I mean, slams shut from a closed position.
Wow.
And I'm looking because it's a place called Where Pigs Fly. At the time, they had pigs, hogs and cows and dogs and horses just running around everywhere. No, nothing was even near it. I open the door, get in the car, and I go, Steve said, "Why'd you slam the door?" I said, "Wasn't me." He goes, "Ghosts." I said, "Definitely." So we drove up to the house, and then later on, going back over to the hotel, which was down the road, after everything was done. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. We get down to the hotel and close. We're getting our stuff out to go check in, and I'm looking up in the sky, and I see this blackness. I'll call it. And
Blackness.
Just
I'm sorry.
Blackness. Just blackness. It was like a blanket, and it just started from a point and then started spreading out like a triangle. Huge. It blocked out the entire sky. It was a beautiful night. I mean, clear night. We were watching meteors and all sorts of stuff earlier, but this thing just spread out like a giant triangle, the straight line. And then it got to a certain point. The entire sky was black. Then the point started disappearing the opposite way until it got a long black line and was gone.
Wow.
And we're like looking up like, what the hell is that? And we're just in amazement. So we take a couple of steps. When it disappeared, we took a couple steps toward the building. My car horn goes off.
Wow.
And I mean, it is blaring. We can't turn it off. And we're like, oh my God, we're not even going to be able to check into the hotel because they're going to chase us away. The police are going to come and all that. But that was one crazy night.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever had actual experiences on Halloween, but we're always busy with the kids and
yeah, that's
So
me
you-
too.
So you're
all that.
ignoring it. You're ignoring it.
I'm in more
Yeah.
interested in
Yeah.
chocolate than
the chocolate.
In the chocolate, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Milk chocolate for me.
I'm more interested in my kids having fun. If they're not having fun, yeah.
But yeah, Halloween occasionally. Yeah, it's some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever had any experience.
Uh-oh.
I think we lost Enzo.
We lost him.
He just did.
Well,
Yep, he just had an experience.
He's having an
we have
experience.
missing time.
Yeah, I can't say I've had any experiences on Halloween. But talking creepy stuff. Now that we're rolling into Halloween, I mean, I love this time of year, but
I do too.
this. Oh, thanks. Oh, my battery's dead on my mouse. So my wife
Oh,
brought me
no.
batteries. So.
Well, you need a
But,
good mouse because I've only changed the batteries on this bad boy once the entire time I've had it. And that was like last week.
Well, this is the second thing that's happening right before Halloween.
Battery
But-
drain, missing time. You're doing it
I
right
don't
now, sir.
know. I'm a believer in dreams. You guys are not.
Yes, I
Dream.
am.
Yeah.
But this happened to me years ago. Okay, I mean, it was probably 2004-ish, and it was a dream, but it was the most vivid dream I think I've ever had. Right now, imagine and it gets kind of religious. But imagine, like the most beautiful palace, I mean, marble columns and gold ivy wrapping them. I mean, the most beautiful place you can imagine. That's about the only way I can describe it. Well, in this dream, I was in this palace, like a courtroom or whatever, and I heard this blood curdling scream, like just not really, almost like a hissing scream.
Okay.
And when it happened, everything melted into like this nasty, gooey, greenish acid.
Oh God.
And I just saw this thing that was blacker than black. Ken reminded me of it when he was talking about how the blackness.
Mm-hmm.
Blacker than black, and I had a weight on my chest. And I couldn't breathe. And like my last breath, I said the word Jesus. And this thing screamed one of those screams again in the pressure.
Oh, wow.
So I kept screaming it. I mean, I kept saying it, and the more pressure came off of me, the more I was able to get louder. And every time I would say this, these pillars would rebuild.
Okay.
And finally, at the very end of it, I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and this thing, screamed and like poof and just disappeared. I was like, woke up, I was sweating. It freaked me out so bad. I mean, I was working at a prison at the time, and that could have been part of it, maybe in demonic, something like that, attachment trying to. But the next day, I went to work, and I went straight to the chaplain. I was like, "Chaplain," and he's like, "Well, everything is biblically sound. I mean, it's everything you said." And he verified it, and it just freaked me out. But that place I worked was such a negative place. I mean, it's a prison.
Yeah.
I've investigated quite a few prisons, and they're very, very active.
Yeah, I believe
something could have attached itself to you and followed you home.
Yeah.
it may have.
Or they
Yeah.
were trying to completely attach to him, was there,
And he fought it.
let's say near him, not exactly, like following him. And it was almost like a reverse Jericho, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Think
Wow,
about it.
that's scary.
Yeah, it freaked me out, and it still does. I got goosebumps now telling it.
Oh my
I can
gosh.
imagine.
Trippy.
Yep.
People
Probably wasn't a dream.
I'm sorry.
Probably was not a dream.
I don't think
It may
it
not be.
was. You were fighting for your soul.
I think so. I mean, I believe I was.
It's a psychic
Yeah.
battle.
Yeah, it freaked me out. And I've had other instances. I mean, I was in a really, I know I've told this before. I was going through divorce, and I was in a really, really dark place. I mean, almost, I was on the edge of losing everything and checking out, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And I was laying in bed contemplating. I mean, I didn't have it happened with my older boys. My older boys were at my ex's. It was just me in the home. And I was contemplating things that I shouldn't have been. And it was like all of a sudden in my house, a fight broke out. I mean, you could hear stomping, crap getting thrown. I mean, like a physical confrontation going on in my house.
Wow.
And I'm like, what in the world is going on? And I don't know if this is my guardian angel, if you guys believe in that thing or what. But the next day, it was like a totally different clarity. It blew my mind.
Wow.
That's
I
wild.
I will just say, some people who know me, and I think you guys know Pam and Shah. I think that when somebody is telling a story like you and I focus on it, I can actually see it happening.
Yeah.
And before you even said guardian angel, I'm seeing an angel defending you.
I believe it.
And I'll bet if you were paying attention, was the room where it was happening, was it like light, bright light, darkness, bright light, darkness? Do you remember seeing anything like that?
I don't remember seeing that.
Okay, because that's what I was just like I said, envisioning here. I can see sometimes, basically with my third eye, what has happened in the past when people are telling a story. I can see it. It's weird, but I can actually see it going on, and that's what was popping into my head when you were telling that story.
Yeah. I mean, I believe it. I can't say I noticed it because of everything else that was going on.
Sure.
But I mean, all I could hear was just, I mean, like I said, it sounded like a huge fight breakout. And it just freaked me out. But
I've experienced what you were talking about. Not, it was we were at an old YWCA, and this spirit popped in, and I'm sitting there just kind of leaning back, my eyes closed, and just, hey, tell me about what's going on, or and we got the spirit box going, and with my eyes closed, I could feel something walk, and I could hear the footsteps going around me, and I'm just kind of calling out because there's a lot of people in the room. I was leading a session. I said, "Did you guys hear anything?" Yeah. They heard footsteps. They were about 3 feet behind me up against the wall. I'm sitting in a chair in a gymnasium. And I'm like, okay, which side of me was it on? Because I want to verify it. They said it was to your right. I'm like, okay, got it. And then this woman pops up. She's talking. And I said, can you show me what you look like? And like I said, my eyes are closed. She did. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're a beautiful woman. And a guy pops up on the radio to the voice box and says, that's my woman.
Oh.
And I'm like,
Whoa.
and I still got my eyes closed, and I'm, like I said, I'm just like leaning back like this, all stretched out, just relaxing. And I go, this is not going to go well. and there was a psychic sitting across from me. There's like 4 people sitting around me. There's probably a good 20 people in the gymnasium, kind of leaning up against the walls and here and there. And next thing I know is I'm kind of getting beat up. I get my neck squeezed, and I'm like, you got to leave me alone, dude. Back off. And then I could feel pressure here. And I said, back off. And then the psychic who was sitting across from me, she starts yelling. So I open up my eyes, and I'm like, what the hell? I said, okay, whoever you are, go back to hell, wherever you came from, just leave. I said, we packed up. We just walked out. 3 of us stayed in the gym. Everybody else went to a different room. And I said, we'll come back here later when things calm down. So we're standing up by the stage area in this gymnasium, the psychic, myself, and somebody else. I can't remember who it was. And we're just looking out to the other side of the gymnasium. We are hearing crashing, things getting thrown against the wall, busting up, just horrible tantrum being thrown down there. So kind of like what you were talking about.
Yeah.
But there was nobody in the room except the 3 of us. But all these noises, there must have been pieces of furniture that were being thrown up against the wall and just smashing and echoing. It's like, wow. We quickly left, and it calmed down later, but that was bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably been about 10, 12, almost 12 years ago.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I've never seen a guardian angel, but I think probably everybody here knows the story of my son seeing my guardian angel.
I think you've told it on the show.
Yeah, I think I have. It's pretty wild. So I know there's something there. He was 5 when that happened, and he still remembers. He's 34 now, and he still remembers it.
Wow.
I have a friend of mine who has a guardian angel story, and I'll have to get him on sometime. But he was when he was in the Air Force, he was involved in an accident while loading ammunition onto an aircraft.
Oh, wow.
And blew a chunk out of his neck. He's still got a scar there. And everybody who was there saw this guy in a white suit that took over and started giving orders, rode with him all the way to the hospital, and they remembered him at the hospital, but he didn't show up on any of the footage.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
That's pretty cool.
I mean,
That
I
is
believe
cool.
it.
I'll have to get him to tell that for us sometime, because my friend is probably one of the most fun storytellers that you'll ever hear, and me telling that short little story took me 30 seconds. It'll take him like 30 minutes,
Oh.
but it is a very vivid story. And so yeah, I totally believe in guardian angels, because I mean, this is a guy who's telling me this. I would and have trusted with my life. I do not doubt a word that comes out of this man's mouth. So yeah,
Look at humans in general. Something's got to be watching out for us. We're
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I've seen
Okay.
mine a couple times.
We're like
I've-
toddlers.
Yeah.
we're
I
worse
believe my
than
guardian
toddlers.
angel is my papaw.
Yeah, I've seen mine a couple times, and but I've also heard stories of good friends of mine who have been in some severe accidents, and they should have been dead
Yeah.
2 or 3 times within that accident. And they tell stories about being surrounded by this light and shoved out a door, the opposite door where they got hit.
Oh wow.
Gotten shoved through the windshield, circles, encircled by this ball of light. And they do remember, being worked on by emergency, techs or whatever. And somebody was there to help them. But when they tried to find out who it was, it never existed. The person never existed, and nobody ever saw it. But they were there, like giving first aid to at least one of the people that I know, before the medics got there, and kept her alive until the medics got there, and then they took over. But nobody was there.
That's
So
why.
it's some crazy stories. It's like, but it's amazing, and I believe them.
Yeah.
Probably because
I
I've
think there's-
seen some things.
I think there's too many stories to discount it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen? I noticed that there's a new movie that just came out a couple of days ago. I think it's called Afterlife or something like that.
We were talking
I
about
haven't
that this
seen that.
weekend.
Yeah, and
Was
I
that
had-
one of the ones?
Yeah. That's
I
what
haven't-
Adrian was talking about.
Yeah, I haven't
Oh.
seen it, but I want to go see the movie, and I was hoping to maybe go see it tomorrow night since we're not doing our show tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But I think it's called. Is it called After Death or something like that?
Let me look, because I think I wrote them down. I took note of them.
I can't remember what it's called, but it just came out a couple of days ago.
The Chosen? Is that it?
No.
No?
It's
Maybe it
it's-
is Afterlife then.
Yeah, no,
They wrote
Van
down
Dyke.
The Chosen. Oh, no. The Chosen's something totally different.
Yeah,
No,
Van
I
Dyke.
think it is Afterlife.
Here, it's not coming up. Here it goes. Movies. Oh, stop. I don't want that one.
Well,
I'm sorry. No. It's called
What would we
After Death.
After death.
Mhm.
death.
Yeah,
Huh.
After Death.
What would we do without our phones to look up these things?
I know,
Google's
right?
Google's my friend.
Right.
Actually,
yeah.
I have something I'd like to share that ties in a little bit back with some of the pictures that Philip was showing on his farm there from his game camera. It made me think of this video, which is it's actually a pretty good story, and I'd like your opinion on the video that I found that is similar to it.
Okay.
Late last year, it was a couple of weeks after Halloween, so it was middle of November. My 74-year-old neighbor that lives a couple doors down from me, she has a Ring doorbell, and she said it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. She gets this alert on her phone saying that somebody's walking around outside of her front door. So she looks at the image on her phone, and she said it looked like 3 spheres stacked on top of each other. 1, 2, 3. And it was just kind of floating around. And beside, the camera angle view, there's another neighbor off to the left, which there's a step up, and it went over that way, and it actually moved up like it had gone up onto the step, disappeared off the camera for like a minute, then came back, went down like it was off of the step. went out onto the sidewalk, and then, drifted away, meaning getting smaller as it was moving away from the camera, like it was something, there actually moving down the sidewalk towards my house, actually. And she didn't have the video to show me because that requires money. You got to pay for the service. And she never thought she would ever have to use that. So she doesn't subscribe to it. But I went out and I looked, and this is middle of November, as I mentioned. We'd already had a couple of hard freezes by then. So the odds of it being an insect were kind of low.
Yeah.
The odds of it being because I went outside looking, well, maybe there's like a cobweb and it's swinging in front of the lens and all that. And that wasn't the case either. But what I ended up, by pure happenstance, which I don't believe in, several months later, I see someone post something on Twitter. It's like, look at this weird doorbell video. I tracked it back to its source, which was a post on Reddit, which I'll share for you guys to pull up, because I'd like, just out of curiosity, after hearing the story, what do you think this is?
I think I've seen what you're talking about, because when you were saying that, I'm like, man, I've seen a video similar to that.
Were there any colors?
No, it's both of the cameras that she used, and this is not her video, the one that I said. But the only write-up is there at the bottom. One of my mother-in-law's friends sent this to her. The bell ringing noise you hear is apparently their doorbell. Friend said she woke up to her doorbell ringing multiple times. What do you guys think? And I'll just maximize this and let it play. I've got the audio on. Now, to be fair, up here for like a second right there, you see what kind of does look like a cobweb. But then this happens.
That is the that video. Yeah, it's weird.
That is
what?
That's the doorbell to the house ringing.
And you can see it looks like
and
somebody's.
Off it goes.
That is.
Isn't that wild?
Slightly insane.
I'll run it again. But this is at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know where it is, but they've got palm trees in the background, so it's somewhere warm.
Mm-hmm.
Here it comes.
Wow.
But I showed this video to my neighbor who had seen something like that, and she said that's exactly what she saw.
See, what the hell
That
are
is
those?
weird.
Because you can see it like it's pushing.
Yeah.
It's like pushing. Like.
Pushing the button, yeah.
Wow, that is.
I originally saw that on TikTok, I think, but I can't remember. It seems like I've seen another similar.
Wow, it's aggressive. It's like.
Yeah. Now, if that was a cobweb, it wouldn't remain vertical like that. I would think if it was swinging around from all over the place and all that. I don't know. I
don't see an aggressive cobweb ringing a doorbell.
I was gonna say, and I haven't seen any spiders ringing doorbells either.
No, me
unless
neither.
it's Charlotte's Web, But I was getting the impression that it was like a fairy.
Oh,
Somewhat,
yeah.
Somewhat similar.
They do like to play tricks.
Yes, they do.
Oh, and you see it like it's walking away.
Yeah, flies off into the sky.
Yeah,
Isn't that
so
weird?
it's like,
oh wow.
I've
Local time was-
caused havoc. I'm moving on.
That's it. I've caused mischief. Ringing at 4 a.m. Almost exactly 4 a.m. And it and like I said,
does that at my house, I'll answer the door because I get up at 3.
Oh yeah.
There's right up here, right at the very beginning, it looks like maybe a cobweb swinging around a little bit.
Yeah, I can see there's 2 dots. Yeah.
Which I'll go back to the very beginning.
What if it's like a group of fairies and they're like, okay, you got to ring the doorbell. No, you ring the doorbell. I don't want to ring the doorbell. I did it last time.
I don't dare you.
I dare you to. Yeah, that's what I.
And that one's pissed.
The end looks like it could be a cobweb. After this,
there, I've done it.
it looks like it could be, but
And I even knocked on the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Nobody's
obviously-
home. I'm going.
It's not like a laser or anything like that because it's
No, there's
going in
3.
between.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, when you see it down in the lower right hand corner, it looks like the little individual spheres in it are moving along that length, like they're changing positions or moving into
Yeah.
each other.
You know what it reminds me of? Remember the glowworms?
Oh yeah.
We used
Yeah.
to have it. Kind of that's the shape of that.
But
it's
dang,
so
it was
strange.
like
That's
Yeah,
pretty
it's-
weird.
You know,
punching it. Like it has to punch it because it doesn't have enough strength to do anything else but punch it.
I liked your comment about the daring part of it. It was almost like, you know, because that little guy in the very beginning, you know, 2 kids, you know, going out to a haunted house and they're saying, "Oh, this place is haunted. Go ring the bell."
Yeah.
And then knock on the door and see if anybody answers.
Yeah.
Scared and runs away. I don't know. That was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Pretty weird, huh?
That is
Yeah.
weird.
It is. It's really neat.
Oh my gosh. I would like to see the guys, the special effect guys on YouTube try to debunk that.
Yeah.
Oh, they would. Oh.
I mean,
They probably
the
would.
default thing was it's cobweb, and well, the those ring things is if there's a lot of motion, it triggers off the
Yeah.
thing to go off, and some of them will ring the doorbell if it's there's a lot of ways you could go about and say it's this, but it doesn't really look like a
It just
cobweb.
looks weird.
No, it
it
doesn't.
It was a demon.
And
Ah.
especially the way it's stricken. It almost, you know, honestly, when I hear that sound,
Sorry.
that is the doorbell. It almost sounds like somebody's banging on a pipe.
Yeah.
Kind of strange chimes or something like that.
Yes.
It
But
is.
still, even if it was something like that, it still doesn't explain how it moves out and around, you know, between the what is it, the post and thing, it goes around it.
The doorpost,
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if it was like a
Weird.
laser or some kind of light, it would have shown off of something.
Right.
I would think it would anyway.
It
That
is
is
definitely a weird
weird.
video.
It is.
That was a fun one, though.
That is
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I put it in the private chat if you guys want to check that out later on your own. But
Okay.
Awesome.
That is really cool.
Yep.
I like
Anybody
those
else have
ring
anything
doorbells.
they want to share?
Do what?
I said, does
Anybody else got
have anything
anything?
you want to share?
Yep.
Yeah, I was trying to think of stories. I mean, I've got thousands of stories, but
Yep.
you know, when you try to think of them, you can't.
Yep.
But when somebody says the word, it's like, oh yeah, I remember something like that.
Something like that happened. This and this. Yeah.
I've told most
No.
of mine, you know, here on here. So
yeah.
Well, I know sometimes those ring doorbells that some people talk about where you see like a misty person that walks by or half of a person is missing as they're walking by. Now, I know some people have said, well, there's only so many frames that those doorbells get. So sometimes you're going to see them with just the legs and sometimes just the upper body. And that's just because of the way the frames sit and the way they're doing. But at the same time, you look at stuff kind of like that situation and it's like, well, explain that. 'Cause-
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's
That-
like it's videotape.
right?
Because I remember back when videotape was the end all be all of security, and of course everybody would tape over their tapes.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh.
you've got a camera looking at the same thing over and over, and it's taping it over itself over and over. A lot of times you would see ghost images
Yeah.
of
From prior.
past recordings on the current recording, and you were actually seeing real people, but not at the time it was actually.
You know, I
being
used to handle claims for Walmart, and we would get in. This was back before everything was, you know, on DVR. They would send us in VHS tapes, and they would just be trash because, you know, it's stuff that was just recorded over on top of other things. And yeah, you could even tell what you were looking at half the time. But you know, when we're sitting here talking about that, it makes me wonder. You know, when we talk about residual hauntings, I wonder if it, and we talk about the fact that residual haunting is basically a tape that's being played over and over, like they're following the same path or whatever. What if it's kind of the same thing? It's an old VHS tape that's been burned enough that it's just got these overlaid images playing through every once in a while.
Right.
I mean, it'd be a similar theory there.
Well, a friend of mine said something about that too. Like the government has all these videos and stuff saved up over time, and they say that it's erased, but they can magically get it again off the same hard drive or off the same SD card. Would it not overlay? Probably.
Like
Maybe.
in layers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Seeing layers in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
get into your multidimensional theories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were talking,
Layer.
Shaw. You were just mentioning something about videos where you see partial people.
Mhm.
I have been fortunate, blessed, whatever word you want to use, to have actually seen at least a dozen apparitions so far
Wow.
in my 15 plus years of doing this stuff. And the craziest one I saw was we were at this cafe doing a lecture and an investigation, and I'm looking out the door, and two shoes and about this much of a pants leg walked by.
Uh,
It was a glass door, and I see just the bottom of it going this
wow.
direction. And when I told my buddy, I told Steve about it. Steve goes, about a couple of minutes ago, I saw the middle portion of a person walking the other way. So we were kind of wondering, maybe this person went to the bathroom, which was over to the left of us, and then I saw the feet coming back.
Maybe so. That's
So
funny.
I've seen kids, I've seen Waverly Hills, I've seen one, YWCA, I've seen one, various places. And it's really amazing. And the craziest story, besides the feet, and actually, when I came down to see you guys at, was it back in July? We talked about that.
Yeah, July 3rd.
I stopped at a restaurant not too far from Springfield called the Rocking Chair. It's on 44, and it was that
remember this.
morning. And I had buffet breakfast and all that, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, can I get a cup of coffee to go? Because I had a 4-hour drive to go still. So they were getting my coffee, and I walked around the buffet and went in the bathroom. Some guy was coming out, no big deal. I go in, and I see the stall was to my left as I went in. Nobody else was in there, and I see a pair of shoes and the bottom parts of a pair of jeans. But the door was partially open. I'm like, oh, no, this is weird.
Oh.
I'm thinking, no, this is really weird. So I go do my thing, and I'm washing my hands afterwards, and I could see the stall through the mirror, and there were no feet anymore. There were no
Wow.
feet, and nobody came in and out. So I'm like, this is pretty freaking awesome. So I walk out, I go get my coffee, and I'm like, the waitress, and I go, I got a question for you. Of course, she thinks I'm weird at first. Like, what are you going to ask me? I said, is this place by any chance haunted? She goes, oh my God. And she calls the other waitress over. She goes, come here. And she goes, this guy just asked about the ghost that was here. And they're telling me there is a ghost there. It's a young man. And they've seen him kind of like in Civil War clothes. It's a young kid, really, I guess, maybe a young teenager or whatever. And he said, oh yeah, he's kind of mischievous. He'll throw silverware on the floor every once in a while. He'll knock over the paper plates, the plates, cups. It's just a nuisance. And I said, yeah, it's just a mischievous, kid. She goes, well, okay. So I corroborated that, yes, they weren't going nuts. And they informed me that I saw something, and so we kind of helped each other. Now, the weekend of the conference, I decided to stop there again. I stopped there for like a brunch before I went, like halfway. So I go in there, and they kind of remembered me. not really, but at first. But
Yeah.
I had my breakfast and I went to the bathroom. And when I came out, I saw this young girl standing next to the buffet. And as I turned and I looked at her a second time, I watched her just go poof, and she was gone.
Whoa.
So I go over to
Whip.
I go over to pay my bill, and she goes, "I thought that was you over there." I said, "Anything else weird?" She goes, "I got to tell you something. I got to tell you something. We've now seen a young girl who is wearing like a teenager, like a bell outfit, like from the Civil War era." And I said, "I just saw her around the corner just a couple minutes ago." And she's like, "Oh my God, that is so cool. You got to come back here more often." So I was telling,
Like, that King guy here.
I was telling my friends that we're gonna try to stop there. What, next week? No, on the 10th.
That's awesome. Oh,
When we're going
Pythian?
down to Pythian, so we're gonna try to stop
Yeah.
there,
Oh,
see if anything
yeah.
else happens. It's like, oh my God,
That's exciting.
that
Yeah, it
was
is.
that was pretty cool. So yeah, so
Bring,
twice
bring your
now.
camera when you're in there. I'd love to see it.
No
Right.
kidding.
Breakfast with Ken.
Yep.
Well,
Breakfast
and,
with Ken.
and if I bring my camera, it'll never happen again.
Right.
True, because you're
Oh, my
you're expecting it. That's what I
Yeah.
teach people. I said, never expect anything if you go to some place that you want to investigate. Don't
Mhm.
expect anything, and the reason is, if you do, you're just using 1 sense. You've just
Yep.
blown everything up. They could be going, hey, 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 but you're looking for something.
Yeah.
You'll never
focusing
ever
somewhere else.
see it. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so no camera. I
Mm.
know it happened. They saw it happen. They didn't see that, but I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool.
That's
So-
exciting.
So
Mm.
I have had some crazy experiences over the years. So,
Wow.
and like I said, when you said something about partial legs, it's like, oh, there's one of my
Yeah.
stories. There we go.
Oh.
I've been at a place. Bathrooms are kind of creepy. I'll just say it that way.
Mm.
I've had some experiences in bathrooms. I went into a place. This was at the Lincoln Theater in Decatur, Illinois. We were doing an investigation there with one of you guys may know Troy Taylor. He has a haunted, or he has a conference every year in June, July, whatever. And I'm one of the last people to get ready to leave, and I had to go to the bathroom, which was downstairs. There's nobody else anywhere nearby me, and I'm in there again doing my thing, and I hear rustling papers, the sound of a newspaper, you know that wrinkling, and apparently there was a spirit in the stall reading a newspaper. So my only guess, because it sounded like just like changing pages. You know how that sound is? Oh, it was totally weird. So
Wow.
now those
I
are
know
some ghost
Andrea.
stories.
Andrea was asking if we saw or noticed anything strange before the bonfire when we were out at Phil and Andrea's. I didn't notice anything strange, but I know it was really cool when Christy Campbell got there, and
Yeah.
the first thing she said was she kind of looked around and was like, this place is so happy. These trees are happy. The dryads in your trees are just, they love this place. They love your family. And it does. There's a very peaceful feeling out there.
It was a very happy feeling.
Mhm.
Yep.
And there's something going on with your, what's that? The trampoline. Something is going on in that spot.
Really?
I don't know what it is, but you said you've had some feelings out there, like you're being watched. Something's going on in that area. I don't know if it's underneath it or just beyond it, but somewhere right in that area. Not where, because we were on the one side of it by the fire, but this will be on the other side of it.
By that little shed.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because you had the circle, and you had the shed here, and the fire was over here. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
I can still kind of visualize it, but something was kind of going on back in that area. I don't know what it is, but I was watching the fire too much and looking up at the.
I was exhausted.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I bet.
I could tell you were, but that was a cool night.
It was. You
Yeah, it
guys
was fun.
really,
It was
really
fun.
put on
It was.
a heck of
On
a
that note,
gig.
It
we
was.
should probably tie
Looking
it up
forward to
here.
next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
Like I
Guys,
said, I mean, it
thank
is
you.
open. You know, if you guys want to do it out here, you guys are more than welcome. We had a great time.
Awesome.
Yay.
You know,
It
so
was a good time, and the food was excellent.
Oh,
my
it
gosh.
was.
And
That
plenty,
chicken was the bomb.
Oh, it
and
was.
plentiful.
it's funny because I don't
was.
like chicken. So
Oh gosh,
You
I
did
love
such a
chicken.
good job on it.
You did.
I
You did good.
appreciate that you did the chicken, though. I truly do.
Me too, because I have been trying to watch my food intake, and chicken is the way to go. But then
That's
I got
good.
to
That's
go
hard
into
to
the
do.
desserts, and it was like, okay, I
Yeah.
gotta have this, this, and this, and then I made that banana pudding cheesecake bars, and I had an extra at the house, and oh boy,
Dang it.
right?
yeah, that was good.
Ah,
Everything was
oh,
good. I didn't.
yeah, it was.
anything
It
bad.
It really
was.
was. Yep. So thank you
Yeah.
again.
Yep. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
happy
Thank
to
you.
have you guys.
Awesome.
With that being said, I think we're going to tie it up. I want to wish everybody a safe Halloween.
Yep.
Thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. It's been fun.
It was fun.
Has
It's
been.
great to have. It's great to be back. I mean,
I'm glad you're back.
Yeah,
we've
it's been a
taken
while.
a hiatus, and hopefully, we can keep it rolling. So
Yay.
I'm
Yay.
sure you will.
Thanks, Enzo, for the
Yep.
bonfire.
Yeah,
What's
that
that?
was a
Yeah,
nice little cozy
it's
bonfire,
been
Enzo.
nice.
It's been nice and warm.
It
Yep.
has.
heck yeah,
I'm gonna have to move to the other side because I'm getting hot on this side.
It's supposed to get down to 29 here tonight. Or
Yeah,
It-
27 here.
Good.
I
Yeah.
got 30 right now.
It's supposed to get pretty
Well, no
cool.
wonder I'm wrapped up in a blanket. I think I need to turn the heater up.
yeah, we have a chance to get down. I think our record is 26, and we got a chance
Ugh.
to meet that tonight.
Yeah, they're
Mm.
saying near record lows here.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
It's crazy. A
Just
week
give us
ago,
some
it was near
water,
record highs.
please.
Yes.
Yep.
It's true.
It's Kansas.
You just had like 4 days of rain. Come on.
It's
We love
Kansas.
more.
We've had all 4 seasons in one day. So I mean,
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But, all right, guys.
Ah.
Well, again, I
Have a good
appreciate
one.
you guys coming and hanging out. It's been fun. We missed a couple of you guys. I wish you guys could have made it, but I understand. Don't forget, if you're in the area, go check out Nightmare on Bradley.
Absolutely.
Well
Yeah.
worth the time. Well worth the time.
Yes,
They
do
stop
it.
at the library. Are you going to be at the library this year, Pam?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we'll
Stop at the
be there
library and say hi
starting
to Pam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll stop by. I'm be in my Cookie Monster hoodie.
sounds cozy.
I'll be there in
He said he
spirit,
sets me
guys.
straight this year. So.
All right. Well, everybody have a great Halloween and be safe.
Y'all
Thank
too.
you.
And we'll catch you guys next episode.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right.
Night
Sounds
Good
good.
night, folks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Night.